Good day. My name is Natasha. Welcome to Sunday News Weekly Brief, where we delve deep into the headlines that have dominated this week's news cycle. Join us as we provide insightful analysis on our national stories. Public sector workers have started receiving an improved United States dollar salary, while the local currency portion of their pay has now been indexed to the prevailing official exchange rate in a development expected to strengthen civil servants' purchasing power.
Indexing of the Zimbabwe dollar portion of the salaries to the prevailing exchange rate will ensure that their buying power is insulated against movements of the exchange rate. In addition, the US dollar increment is expected to restore the value of government workers' pay following January's conversion of COVID-19 allowances into taxable salaries. In recent months, civil servants' pay had been eroded by inflation, and the latest adjustment is expected to sustainably restore their purchasing power. Some civil servants started receiving the new pay, whose flat US dollar component is now pegged at $320, up from $300 on Friday. And the latest salary adjustment was the result of a provisional agreement struck between the government and representatives of public sector workers under the National Joint Negotiating Council held on Thursday.
A total of 11 people died, while 38 others were injured yesterday when a Beitbridge-bound Blue Circle bus collided head-on with a city bus that was traveling from South Africa to Harare at the 12 kilometers peg along the Beitbridge-Masvingo Highway near the Chamunanga area.
The accident occurred at about 1 a.m. after the city bus hit a donkey and swerved to the right lane, resulting in the collision that killed 7 people on the spot. The Blue Circle Bus Company has offered to pay the medical bills of the injured and also offered transportation of the deceased from Beitbridge for burial within Zimbabwe.
The government and tourism players are engaging to find short and long-term solutions as they move to address accommodation challenges that arise in Bulawayo during the country's premier showcase, the Zimbabwe International Trade Fair.
This year, the annual event, which will be in its 64th edition, is set to take place from 23 to 27 April and will be held under the theme Entrepreneurship, the Catalyst for Industrialization and Trade. The availability of accommodation is a major challenge during the ZITEF week for those who look for it at the last minute, as major hotels and lodges would be fully booked a month or two ahead of the trade showcase. Recently, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Tourism and Hospitality Industry, Dr. Munyaniwa, and his industry and commerce counterpart, Dr. Wushe, Tourism Business Council of Zimbabwe, President Mr. Nhau and his Vice President Mr. Chinwada, as well as the Hospitality Association of Zimbabwe, President Mr. Nyakutomwa, met to discuss the availability of accommodation during ZITEF. Let's hear Mr. Nhau speak on the meeting.
Good morning. Hope you are well. Our meeting with the Permanent Secretary, we had a meeting with the Permanent Secretary, Industry and Commerce, and our Parent Minister, Permanent Secretary, Tourism and Hospitality Industry. The main issue that we discussed is the issue of availability. As we believe demand and supply, it's more of a demand and supply issue than anything else. So we agreed on a certain formula that I will not be at liberty to disclose at this point in time until it is fully materialized. That will see the availability of accommodation, that will see more rooms being released on the market, and it's our belief that once we have more rooms on the market, it will have an effect on the supply and demand, and in turn price and rates. We really are not we don't really, as a matter of principle and policy, we do not discuss individual rates, because they vary from property to property. We know there's been a concern about the price of the rooms. And as you know, if you were to book a room today in Bulawayo, it would be one of the most affordable rates that you find in the country. So when you then see rates going up during ZITF, it's an aspect of supply and demand. But as stakeholders, ourselves in business, government on the other hand, we are engaging to find a longer and sustainable solution to the availability of accommodation in Bulawayo.
Dynamos fans have called for the departure of coach Genesis Mangombe after they surrendered a 2-goal lead to share the spoils with Hwange at Barberfield Stadium in Bulawayo on Saturday.
End of the match. Mangombe is popularly referred to as Kaka. After the stalemate, the fans made their feelings on the coach clear. They want him gone. Dynamos lost their opening match against Highlanders last weekend 2-1 before Saturday's 2-2 draw against Hwange. Prior to that, they had lost 2-0 to Ngezi Platinum Stars in the Castle Challenge Cup. If anything, Mangombe needed to win the game against Hwange to pacify the Dynamos faithful. But that was not to be.